Most people pass through St. Albans, Queens without realizing they re-walking through one of New York City and its most quietly powerful neighborhoods. It doesn't shout its history. It whispers it, through brick houses, tree-lined streets, and stories that were almost erased. Before St. Albans was known for jazz legends and civil rights leaders, it was farmland owned by the Remsen family in the 1600s. This land once fed Manhattan when Manhattan couldn't feed itself. Long before subways or highways, St. Albans was already shaping the city's survival. But here's something most people don't know. St. Albans became one of the first places in America where black families could own beautiful, middle-class homes by design, not by accident. In the early 1900s, while much of New York was enforcing segregation through redlining, developers in St. Albans quietly created a community where black professionals, doctors, teachers, musicians, could build real wealth. That was radical at the time, and that's why the music came. Lena Horne, Count Basie, Ella Fitzgerald. These weren't just names passing through. They were neighbors. Jazz legends lived on these very blocks because St. Albans offered something rare: safety, dignity, and ownership. After late-night performances in Harlem, musicians would take the train back home here, to streets where they could finally exhale. There's a story locals still tell about Count Basie hosting jam sessions in his basement, where the greatest musicians of the era played not for fame, but for joy. No stage, no spotlight. Just sound echoing through the walls of St. Albans. But St. Albans didn't just nurture art, it shaped activism. Malcolm X spent his final years here, and it was from this neighborhood that his ideas matured, softened, and sharpened all at once. He wasn't just a national figure here, he was a father, a husband, a neighbor. And then there's the heartbreak most history books skip. As highways expanded and policies changed, St. Albans, like many black communities, was slowly drained of resources. Yet it never lost its pride. Home ownership stayed strong. Families stayed rooted. Culture stayed alive. St. Albans isn't just a neighborhood. It's proof of what black excellence looks like when given space to grow. It's a reminder that some of the most important chapters of history weren't written downtown or in textbooks, but on quiet streets in Queens, where legacy lived behind front doors. And if you listen closely, St. Albans is still telling its story.